No, I'm good for now.
No, I'm still gonna put it up there, George, sorry. We were talking about the rating of our issues and all in
Right.
Manatee County. I think that we really just need to be honest and not ignore the elephant in the room. And I just personally feel that the citizens, those of us who have kept an eye on things, I think our number one issue we're having is a lot to do with accountability, civility. What is it? What's the words, people?
ACE,
Accountability,
accountability, civility, and
accountability. I
ethics.
can't even remember them anymore. You know,
Civility.
it's like it doesn't exist.
And ethics.
Accountability,
Civility.
civility, and ethics,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
We have to admit, those of us who have followed this for a while, that Carl Hiaasen is speaking at the Eco Summit.
Yeah,
If
I
you're
know.
familiar with Carl
I was
Hiaasen.
actually gonna go to that, but I've got like 40 other things during
Yeah,
these days.
which Carl, if you've ever read any Carl Hiaasen, he really needs
These
to
books
use.
are weird.
Yeah, he could, and
My kids used to read 'em.
Craig
He wrote
Pittman.
the ones like Chomp and Flush and all that.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And Craig Pittman is also going to be speaking that
Yeah, I
same
know, I
night.
wanted to see it.
And I think we do have a little issue with accountability, civility, and ethics. I have, I'm a old lady according to Mike Ron, and I've lived here in Bradenton for over 30 years, and it was my bedroom community. I had a job in St. Petersburg. I could be on a plane in Tampa in 45 minutes after dropping my kids off at the daycare. I kept my horse in Parrish, where Covered Bridge Estates is now, and there were never any covered bridges there, by the way.
Yeah.
Ancient oaks that used to be there. And now I'm out in Mayaca. And we've all been following this for a while, and we've got a problem there. We've got a problem. And if somebody asked me what would be one of our first issues that we have in Manatee County, when we say that housing, yes, housing dribbles down into, right, all of our other issues. But if we don't have, what's the three words again? Accountability, civility, and ethics. How are we going to trust and move forward with those other things?
Well,
Right.
that's what I was saying, is we have to start paying better attention to who
Hey,
we put in those
let's
chairs.
take the blame, people. Where does it start?
Well, with us, because we're
Right.
not paying attention to who
Now,
we're putting in there.
but remember that in some, in some confusions of that, my shtick is, I walk up to people and I say, where are you from? How's your mama? What district do you live in? Who's your district commissioner? Okay, we did a lot with that redistricting that changed a lot of things. It was very confusing. And I was there for virtually every single meeting in one way, shape, or form on that redistricting. And there was shade in that. There's been shade in everything we've done. So I think that is the number one thing that we have to look at in this county. And how do we take our responsibility for that? And how do we enforce that? I mean, right now, we've got, how many county commissioners and former county commissioners are currently under investigation? I don't understand the concept of this, especially this latest one, where when we issue a text, when texting was invented, that anybody didn't say, this could lead to bad things. We might want to have a public records, a way of gathering these things. So how did our county go for how many years that we handed out county cell phones to people with texting abilities, and not one person thought, no good may come from this?
I could tell you sort of the answer to that.
Because Sarasota
Because
did.
Sarasota got in trouble for it, Venice got in trouble for it, North Fork got. Because once we started handing out iPhones, which was newer, iPhones weren't the default handout for a while. As long as you're texting another iPhone, which meant somebody else within the
Right.
county, for instance, it doesn't go through SMS, it doesn't go through the phone carrier, it goes through an app on Apple.
Mhm.
And so we were unable to capture those texts, or even know those texts were happening. If I texted someone with an Android, it would get captured. And so when they went to pull everyone's text message, they would see text messages because
So we've
anyone that went.
identified the problem then.
Correct. And we did, and so we turned off all texting because we couldn't stop, Apple wouldn't turn over the text. And so our only option was to turn off text. We've since been able to turn it back on because now there's new software, because people always find solutions to things. So we have software that does in fact capture. So our texts now go out, even iPhone through SMS, so that they can capture the text. It's been fixed. Same thing happened in Sarasota, Venice, Northport, I think Venice.
But we have a commissioner that is intentionally refusing.
I
to
cannot
use the
speak to-
phone because he doesn't want records.
I've never heard that.
And how does
I
he
didn't know that,
refuse
and I've
a
never heard
county
that before in my
phone?
life.
How do you what?
How does
It
he,
was
how do
published.
we, how?
I know it's,
how
I'm
do you
saying I've
refuse
never
a
heard
county
of somebody refusing a county
You
phone.
can,
Right, okay.
you don't refuse it, you use your
Don't use it.
personal phone.
If you
Yeah,
don't
you take,
use the business phone, then they can't get the records, which is
Right.
like what
You gotta be good at being bad, come on.
But, I mean, we have
You
kids,
still
we
just take the
don't
phone and leave
hand
them.
our kids out a phone and don't put things on it to keep them from, reading a library book or port or something. So, or something. So,
One of mine.
but kids always find a way around everything, and so do
apparently,
adults.
apparently, but, okay, so basically what I'm saying is that we know we have some issues. We have been in issuedom for the last,
Yeah, but Barfield goes after everybody for everything, both school district, county,
and we pay for
everywhere.
it, and we end up paying for it because,
Yeah, we keep him in business, I get it, okay?
and because we
And we
don't
can't
have.
shoot.
We don't,
Go
we're
after-
small, I mean,
If there was
he's
nothing
gotten
for
all
him
his
to go
money from
after,
Northport,
he wouldn't be doing it
Sarasota.
because it's.
No, he makes money.
He's statewide, he's statewide.
That's not true.
He's statewide, he just happens
Who are
to
we
be.
talking
Absolutely not
about?
true.
He's the,
That he
He's
makes
the
money.
president of the ACLU from the state of Florida. He looks into like sunshine
Money
violations.
when he
Okay.
violation laws.
Yeah,
Right, so if people weren't doing bad things for him to win a lawsuit on, he wouldn't get money.
Or they just settle sometimes because it's cheaper to settle than it is to continue to fight.
I doubt it. Not
well,
in this
I
county.
think that.
No, that's
does
almost
happen.
entirely
Yes,
how it ends up.
absolutely.
Yes.
Almost
Yes.
100%.
In the school district, I know it is for
Yeah,
a fact.
it's almost 100%,
They'll
almost
settle.
100% of the time it's through a settlement.
So is he doing this as a form of almost legal blackmail? Is that what?
Something
No.
like that.
No, it's accountability.
It's accountability, civility, and ethics. and
But the politicians will call it legal
Well,
blackmail.
I think we're still, I
Well, she
think
brought
Carol
up
was
the
still
ACE
halfway
thing.
through her.
So anyway, so we have these issues, and we have a tremendous amount of investigations going on. We've recalled our former commissioner back into the fold regarding the John Mast.
When you said recall, we don't have.
Well, no, we don't have
I-
recall.
okay.
We're working on
You're
that
using
though
the
too.
term.
But, so, we've come up with all of these, and I don't think that, I would like to split the blame, okay? If we have an Animal Services Citizens Advisory Committee and, they're not meeting or they're not being heard by the commissioners, that's why one thing I would like to see is if we're gonna be discussing affordable housing, I want the chairman of the Citizens Advisory Board for Affordable Housing up there, not Glenn, because Glenn's a citizen. I mean, he's on it, but you need to have a front man for those things. Our Animal Services Citizens Advisory Committee should have been called in when we had this
They're not
problem
using
with what they told me is that they stopped meeting because the board wasn't paying attention to them.
Correct.
I was at an LMAC meeting where the quote was given, well, you people better not do that because the Board of County Commissioners is gonna get mad at you and then they won't approve anything that you want. And we don't run those meetings. We're the Citizens Advisory Committee, but it's the county's show. The reason that, as you suggested about the waterways people and all that, the reason that the Citizens Advisory Committee should work better and should be utilized better and should be taken a little bit more seriously is because it gives us an avenue with having a county commissioner liaison on the board that has an interest in that, using county services and staff, and they can be really effective. And here we're sitting in a community that we have retirees that have wealth of knowledge. If you want to tell us how you did it up north, join a Citizens Advisory Committee because you might bring some good ideas in the community. But I think that we could possibly take some steps. We have an integrity problem. We have a severe integrity problem. And you know what happened to me as a citizen. I go to a board meeting to speak as a citizen. You know, I mean, you guys could campaign up on the dais and you could have wonderful videos made of how our agricultural land is just so awesome and all that kind of stuff. I'm just going there as a citizen. What I said, you know what happened. What I said was how you vote is going to affect how we vote. How is that a subversive statement or a off-topic issue? Then Michael Barfield walked into that meeting and said the same exact thing that I said, and nobody said a word. And people said, well, it's a waste of time. It's a waste of time to go down there and talk to people who are on their cell phones during the meeting, texting. So why are we doing that? Because this is how it's supposed to work, okay? This is how it's supposed to work. We're supposed to have responsibilities, and then when we fulfill our responsibilities and exercise our rights, you have a job to do too. So how do we get through this divide that we're having? No matter what happens, we need to address the sin, not the sinner, because hey, stuff you don't know until you walk in somebody else's shoes how things come about. And we don't know it all, and neither does he or him or you. But you're loud. And that's something we want to do. We want to come together with those things. It's not going to help by kicking cans down roads or accusing other people of kicking cans down roads. What do we want? We want to be educated, informed, and involved citizens. So that's the way that we improve our integrity. Investigations aren't getting us anywhere. Investigations are not improving behaviors. Investigations are not costing anything else but money right now.
But the problem is, Carol, is that the only mechanism voters have is at the ballot box, and it only comes once every 4 years.
And by that time, you have pretty much ravaged, and you spend the next 8 years straightening out. I want to walk into this next 4 years. I don't want to walk into this next 4 years going, all we're going to do is try and straighten up what happened in the last 4 years. Mm-hmm. And then what's going to happen, George? Oh, then we're going to get yelled at, right? So I don't want to go too much farther, but what I'm saying is we've asked for things, I don't know, familiarity with process and procedure. Lee Washington and I talked about the Citizens Academy starting up so people understand.
I already started that conversation.
You see people that are wanting to revive a citizens advisory, create one. I think we need to have that putting that in us. It's increasing the integrity and the accountability and civility and ethics. That's the number one problem in Manatee County right now. Everything else falls from that. And we've got to make some improvements on that. And we appreciate what you're doing. We appreciate what everybody's doing. But if we keep ignoring the biggest elephant in the room, we're not going to accomplish any of the other things. We need to find a way to make that right. And I'm asking all of you.
Yep. We need representation that's going to represent us. I actually tried to get onto a library advisory council, and I was told that I'm not eligible because I don't live in Palmetto and I don't live in Holmes Beach and the Beach People, and I'm not a mother with a child currently in school.
You didn't fit any of the categories.
I didn't fit any of the categories.
Did you send an email about that?
I did.
Okay.
I like to email when I don't like things. So.
Look at who.
And I got nowhere.
We've had people that have been nominated for the Planning Commission that should be serving on the Planning Commission, and they don't make it every time. And I did a great research into citizens advisory committees before I applied for and was appointed to the LMAC. And yes, that's what I found. So there's a historic commission, Historic Preservation Board. They meet this Monday coming up. They're approving their meeting minutes from the last time they met, which was in July.
I have the same
That's
problem.
just that's how some boards work. I
They
mean,
never
Well,
publish
no,
the
that's how some
agenda.
boards don't work.
I'm saying they're literal counties. I mean, the Affordable Housing Board, just use the example because I was
Now, they
on
meet
since
once
way
a month.
before I was even a commissioner, meets every month in Manatee County. That one is required to do things for us to get millions of dollars of funding.
Right.
There are counties in this state where that board meets once a year. Once. They meet
Yeah,
one
but
time.
George,
they
let's
meet-
not- let's
I'm-
get
I'm
away from
using-
it. It's
I'm-
not
I'm
how
using-
good you are, it's
okay.
how much better you are than
I'm
anybody
not-
else.
I'm not-
'Cause
I'm
that's
not
exactly
implying
what we've got us into this problem.
I'm not implying that, Carol. My point was, different boards meet at different intervals depending on need. It doesn't make sense, like, we contemplated switching the Affordable Housing Board to every other month, because half the time we're sitting there twiddling our thumbs, because there's only so much to do. So some boards don't require monthly meetings. Some boards require the Children's Services Board meets for hours and hours and hours all the time, because they require a lot more work.
And they have money to work with. They have
Other boards,
financial.
we have meet twice a year. Some boards meet quarterly. I'm on the Gulf Consortium Board, which handles the BP funding from the oil spill. We meet 4 times a year. I'm on the board for Florida Association of Counties. That's an important board that does a lot of, pushing for policy up in Tallahassee and dictates things for all the counties. We meet 4 times a year. These are big boards. We just consolidate them into a reasonable amount based on available time of everybody and real need. So we're not just spinning our wheels and look like we're pushing paper. You don't need to meet just to meet. So some boards don't need to meet every month. Some boards do. And it's at the board's discretion and the staff's discretion is overseeing it, how much they feel is an adequate amount of time to accomplish their goals for the year.
So when we have an issue, let's take a simple one, because everybody likes dogs.
May we have your attention, please? The Palmetto Branch Library will be closing in 30 minutes. If you'd like to apply for a library card or check out materials, please come to the front desk now. Public
done.
computers will automatically
No, no.
shut down 10 minutes before closing.
As
The
long as you
library
know
will
that
close
wasn't your
promptly at
Speak
8 p.m.
over 'em.
Thank you.
Speak over. So when we had the issue with the animal services and all this kind of stuff, why weren't they referred to
were
or
fired.
called in?
By Jody Fisk.
They were what?
We were all fired by
Right,
Jody Fisk.
but I'm talking about
after
the
she
Animal
stood up the
Services
month
Citizens
before and sang
Advisory
our praises and
Committee. Why
thanked
were
us.
they not brought into the situation?
We don't
still
have the
don't know what
advisory board.
happened.
We
Oh,
don't have
because
it.
they just
They don't
disappeared.
talk to us. No,
Nobody talks.
we never got an explanation.
No.
Just, we don't need you anymore.
Well, I understand that things turn slowly, like, I'm on the LMAC thing. We've been paying our extra money for our property taxes. Do you know how much property we've purchased so far? Zip.
Maybe you should get your boarding gear.
I had tried to, but it apparently is run by, the county, not the citizens.
Oh, yeah.
I just want to know about the ACE thing that she brought up. Who decides, who nominates people for those awards and who hands it out? You don't know because you guys make a big deal about it at your meetings when they're given out. So who?
We don't make a big
What are you
deal.
talking about?
The directors, the administrator
employee?
hand them out the amount. We can't get one, nor can we
The
give one.
directors
So
of the departments hand them out?
Yes.
Oh, that's cute.
Uh-huh.
Okay, that's adorable.